In this video, I will demonstrate how to upload test data using the LabLINK data upload utility. This application, once set up, will allow us to upload ProLink data or any data to LabLINK directly, as well as perform a local copy feature to a network drive of your choosing. In order for the uploader to make a connection to LabLINK, there will need to be a security certificate installed, and that will be covered in a separate video. After the uploader has been installed and the security certificate has been installed as well, we'll go ahead and double click on the LabLINK uploader.exe file. Please note that cosmetically some things may look a little different as you are going through your installation, but the main settings and everything should remain the same. As I open up the uploader tool here, we notice I have a couple of tests that are immediately being looked at, but we're going to start off by going to the Settings tab. So if I navigate to the Settings tab, we have an API address location, and this is the correct address for the link testing organization's connection to LabLINK directly. Then we have a rate limit, megabits per second, and then max current number of uploads that can go simultaneously. And you'll want to contact your local IT administrator for guidance on how this should be set. And this really would be dictated by your local IT infrastructure demands. Presently, the machine ID and machine key are not being used in this installation. We are actually using this installation to upload test data from over 100 portable data acquisition systems using ProLink data. You'll notice we have a few options here. One of those is to save data to local drive. So in addition to uploading data directly to LabLINK, we can also send that data to a network drive or local drive of our choosing. Then we have options here to scan for removable storage, so meaning a USB drive or a portable hard drive, which is mainly how we will transport our data from a durability test vehicle over to a walk-up computer where we upload our data. There's also the option to delete this test data from the removable storage drive after the upload is complete. And then we can also click this remove test and complete state. So after tests have been uploaded, they will disappear from this data page. Okay, so these are the basic settings in order to make connection to your LabLINK server. So it goes without saying that the computer that the upload utility is installed on needs to be able to reach your LabLINK installation. So you need to be on your corporate network when you are launching this program. It's also worth noting that if you close the software using the X here, it really gets minimized. It doesn't actually close out. To fully close the software, you want to use the file and then exit command here. Next, I'm going to jump over to machines. And this is where you're going to configure all of the machines that you wish to be able to upload data from this computer and this upload utility installation. So as you'll notice, I scroll through here, I've got about 105 or so that have been configured for our Dearborn, our North America vehicle testing groups. For each machine, we need a machine name, a machine number, serial number, which in our case, those numbers are the same. We select the box that this is a VMAX. Even if it's a 3802, we are also using this option. We need to provide a computer name, and this information really in all of these categories needs to match what is in LabLINK. So the computer name on this computer really is not VMAX 4000, but this is perfectly acceptable as long as what's in LabLINK matches here. So there's a user config file that I will distribute for North America vehicle test that will have all of this information pre-programmed in. We also have this machine key here. One thing to note, in order for the program to work, we need to establish a connection between the uploader utility and LabLINK. And I can see that has happened by looking at this status down here. Whitelist last updated 5/31/11/47 when I first launched the software. This means that I've been able to make a connection to LabLINK. I've verified with this machine, US VMAX number 5, that there is a data whitelist that is set up so that we know what type of files can be uploaded to the test request. And that was just updated here. Now, if I was to have something incorrect in my API address here, so I'm going to remove one of the letters here. Now when we go back, let me close this really quickly and then reopen it. We're going to get this message here that whitelist is empty. And essentially this means that we are not making a connection to the LabLINK server. So some of the problems could be either I don't have access to the network drive or to the network, meaning I'm not on VPN or I'm not plugged into the network, or that the security certificate for LabLINK has not been installed, and that would also cause us to not be able to connect. Or it's possible that this machine did not have a data whitelist set up for this machine type. That's not the case here. We know the issue is directly in my API address. So I'm going to go ahead and correct that. I'll tab out of there. And then you'll see now that these are updating. Okay, so now that we have some machines set up and that we know that we're actually communicating with LabLINK, there's a couple of tabs that we can look at here. USB drives would be one that this is currently how I'm going to use our walk-up station that we have out in the garage that will be primarily used for moving test data from durability vehicles using a USB drive. So the technician would want to get raw test data. So if they are doing a archiving process on the machine itself inside of the vehicle, they're going to want to unarchive that data directly to a memory stick. And then they can go place this memory stick USB drive in one of the 7-port USB hubs on this computer. I've got about 20 memory drives that have all been labeled. So they're USB drive 1 through 20. And there's a key tag attached to them with this number so that we know which drive is which if we have multiples that are uploading at the same time. Right now, you'll see that I have 2 different USB drives that have been plugged into my laptop for demonstration purposes here. One of them doesn't have any test data on it. The other one has 2 tests on it right now, and they're all highlighted red, meaning that there is some type of issue. Now, if I click on each one of these, it's going to give me the upload status. So the top one here, it is telling me that 107.206-2-1, this test is not found in LabLINK. So there is a test, 107.206-1-1, that exists within LabLINK. And for some reason, we've created a -2-1 set of test data. And in order for this test data to be able to upload into LabLINK and onto our network drive, this test request is going to need to be created. Anytime we have a mismatch between the name of the test data and the test request inside of LabLINK, we're going to get this error message and nothing is going to upload until we've corrected that issue. So I'll real quickly show what the test engineer would need to do after they've been notified of this issue by the technician attempting to upload data. If you go to test request and then search, and I'm going to search for 107.206, we'll see we only have a -1 test right now. Okay, so what I want to do is go and view, and then from the upper right hand corner here, I'm going to click clone. And if I clone this test request, it's now going to give me the ability to change the test name here. I'm going to make this 107.206-1 or -2-1, and then I need to select the correct laboratory, and then I need to create this test request. Okay, once it's created, what I'm going to do so that I don't mess anything up inside of our LabLINK installation here is I'm going to change its request state to closed complete. But this would be up to the engineer's discretion to see if this is needed or not. Okay, now once I've done that, this will eventually update here. Every few minutes it goes out and it checks to see if this test request is still there or not. If I was to exit the software and then relaunch it, that will force that to happen more quickly. And we should be able to see once the USB drives pop up here. Now with the current version I'm using right now, these don't expand on their own. You have to double click on them in order to see which tests are there. In an upcoming release, this should automatically open up on its own and you don't have to double click. So I still have this error from this other test telling me that this machine number is not set up inside of LabLINK. But now we see that 107.206-2-1 is now in a queued state. So it's going to start looking at the test data files that exist on my memory stick compared to what's inside of LabLINK. And it's going to show me right now that I had a queue depth of 30 files that it wanted to upload. So it's going to show me the individual files that we're uploading. And then you should also see a local copy that is happening as well. Okay, so now this test is uploaded and it is listed as being complete and it's highlighted in green. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and correct the issue. I manually removed this machine before to show how this works. In order for test data to upload using the upload utility, you must have a one-to-one match of the test name and the test request name, as I mentioned just previously here. But the upload utility is also going to take a look at which machine generated this data set, and then it's going to verify that that machine has been set up inside of LabLINK. Now, to be able to see which machine created a specific set of data, there's a machine ID variable that can be looked at for ProLink data. And this is variable 5. So if I right mouse click here, I go to variable 5, machine ID, source machine ID, hit OK. It's going to tell me that this test data set here that we're looking at was generated by machine 4121. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the machine tab here. I'm going to add this machine. Okay, I'm also going to come over here to our LabLINK installation. I'm going to go to setup and then machines. I'm going to filter down out of the 314 that we have right now, and I'm just going to display machine 4121. Okay, so I'm going to go to edit. I'm going to get some of the information here that's needed. The name, I'm going to copy and paste this in. The machine number, 4121. Okay, this is also going to be used for this serial number here. Okay, computer name is VMAX 4000. And I also need to get the machine key, which I can do over here by going to technical details. This is the key. I'm going to click the copy button and I'm going to paste this in and I'm going to hit add. Okay, so now once I've done that, if I go back down and click on this machine 4121, I should have a whitelist updated, meaning that it is now connected. If I go back to my USB drives, okay, now I'm going to notice that this test is actually doing a local copy and uploading to LabLINK at the same time here. So I've got one file left to go. And then as soon as that's done, this should come up as being green and complete. And as soon as every test on a USB stick is complete, the whole USB drive will be illuminated here. Okay, so that's how the data gets uploaded over USB. Okay, now if we also want to be able to have a technician or someone else upload data that they're collecting directly to their computer without moving it to a USB, what we can do is use this data path field here. Now it's a little bit misleading. I have over 100 machines that are configured. We do not have to set up this data path for every single one. What we really need to do is just set up a data path at least one time for any directory location that we want to sync data from. Now, almost every technician that collects data here in North America anyway would have their data path as C:\data, and that's where they would be syncing all local data that they're collecting from a 3202 or on a VMAX. Okay, so if I type in C:\data and then I click add edit, now I can jump over to, so that's been saved for this machine. Now if I jump over to the data tab here, I have a lot of test data inside of my C:\data folder. So you'll see I've got 56 tests that it's actively working on. Now if I click transfer state and sort by that, I can see that there are 2 tests that I'm currently uploading. And then I have a whole bunch of error messages from demo tests that I've created in the past that do not exist inside of LabLINK. And then I also have a bunch of tests collected on a demo VMAX system that has also not been set up inside of LabLINK. Okay, but so a normal practice for a technician who is out collecting pedal field data or something like that, FMVSS 135, that data is stored in their C:\data folder. Instead of the legacy method of archiving that data and unarchiving it to the V drive, all that they have to do now is launch this software with one or more of these machines set up with the C:\data in their test folder. And now it's going to grab any test that it can find that has a matching test request name inside of LabLINK, collect it on a machine that exists within this list here, and then it will upload that data both to LabLINK and to the network drive. Okay, so what I'm going to show now is, let's go back into LabLINK. And there's a couple ways that we can go about this to see which data has been uploaded. First, I'm going to go to test request, and I'm going to search for this 107.206 test that we created before. There's a -1-1 and a -2-1. Both of them are going to have some test data underneath them now. But if I click the menu button here, I have a couple of options. One is I can look at test data files. Okay, and it's telling me that some of this is currently being uploaded. This is going to show me a listing of all of the different files that have been uploaded. So I can see all of the individual 3802 files that have been uploaded to comprise this test. Now, if I wanted to, I could click here, and then I could download this. And once I click download, it's going to download this folder, all of these files into a zip file for me. Okay, now alternatively, what we also can do is click the menu button here and go to test data analysis. Now that would be the same thing as going to data warehousing and then test data analysis here. Okay, so the test data analysis page has been launched here, and we are on test 107.206-2-1. And if I click on this, it's going to give me a listing of every machine that reported data to this test request. Now, currently we only have one, but there could be multiple 3802s, there could be multiple VMAXs, there could be picture stand data, there could be pad measurements, there could be LRO DTV mapping station data, all organized inside of this one test request. Now, if I click on this machine, the US 3801 number 4, that's going to go ahead and launch into warm storage all of the test data that we've collected. So I've got sections 1 through 7, and then also section 999 here. And I don't have much set up for a layout, but I do have a generic grid here, as well as some raw data being graphed out for each one of these records that's been reported. Now, I'd also like to point out that the way that the data is stored on the network is a little bit different than what we are accustomed to in the past. So if I go to this test, this 107.206-2-1, traditionally we would see all of the test data located right in the root here. The way that this test data is organized now, which is actually an advantage for being able to have multiple machines report data with the same exact test name, is that it's done with a folder with the machine name. So US 3800X number 4, I'm going to double click on this, and now I have the actual test data folder here with all the information inside of it. So something to point out as we're looking at test data and rev data, historically, if we look inside of our 2022 folder, for example, we would typically see all of the test data folders here with the little magnifying glass, meaning that it's recognized as being a test data folder because there's raw data directly inside of the root of that folder. But going forward, with the new structure here, what we will end up seeing is all of our tests in an ordinary folder here. Then we'll have the machine name folder. And once we go here, now we'll actually see the actual test data. Okay, so we could have US 32X4, 5, 6, all of those could be listed here with different sets of data all collected under the same test name. Okay, so once again, I'm going to jump over into the LabLINK uploader program. I can see that one of those 2 tests that I had in my C data folder is completed. And then I've got another one here that still has a queue depth of over 50 files that it's working on. But essentially, this is how the configuration works, how we're able to upload data, get it moved over to a local data path of your choosing if you like. Going forward in the future, we will be using LabLINK as our primary source for viewing all data and doing test reporting. In the interim, we want to have it in LabLINK as well as on our V drive to be able to process some of our reports locally there, as opposed to auto reporting being the direction that we're going in the near future. One other thing that I'll show real quick here is that where the configuration settings are saved at for this. And as we're distributing this to new users who are going to begin uploading data, I have a user.config file that contains all of these settings that you'll be able to use. And that file exists inside of you have to go to C:, and then users, and then your username, so g.smith for me. And then you have to go to app data. Now, one thing worth mentioning, it's very possible that you do not have hidden items being shown and you won't be able to see app data. Now, if that's the case, in your Windows Explorer window here, go to View, and then you want to check Hidden Items. And then once you do that, you'll be able to see this app data folder. So I want to go to App Data, Local, and then under Link Engineering, there will be a folder that gets created whenever you launch the LabLINK uploader utility. So the first time that you go to set this up, what you're going to want to do is launch the LabLINK uploader utility and then immediately exit. Go to File and then Exit. And it will create this folder here with a subfolder inside, and there will be a user.config file. What you'll be able to do is take the user.config file that I supply and overwrite this with the one that I give you. And that will give you the settings with over 100 machines configured. And then from there, you can tweak which file directory you want to upload to, etc. That concludes this video. Thanks for watching.